Everybody, Ralph Havens here, and I realized as I was uploading, trying to upload the Facebook Live onto YouTube today, I realized I didn't record it. So I'm going to do this one for YouTube. So another session today. And what came to me this morning was something really cool that happened when we first moved to Bellingham back in 2013. And I was running with the running group that I just found, really cool group, and a runner was a school teacher here in Bellingham, in the Bellingham area. And she told me, Ralph, we're going to be doing this big science fair in my high school, and there's going to be thousands of people there, and the theme is going to be how do you use science in your work? And she said, do you want to join us? And I said, that sounds great, I'll do it. And when I said it later, I thought, wow, what am I going to do? How am I going to explain what I do and relate it to science? So, years ago, I studied with a medical intuitive named Sharon Giammatteo. Really fortunate and lucky to have that, because she literally saved my life. She helped me get my running back after 8 months of not running. And in the process, I learned that if you could find what the body was protecting, you could shift it and then the body could heal. And that happened to me. We worked on my heart and my liver and GI tract and all sorts of things, and my health improved immensely. I mean, I got my running back, I got my teeth that no longer had cavities after many years of having cavities. I no longer had anxiety or this weird sweating thing. A lot of stuff changed for me over the years of doing that work. And one of the things that attracted me to that work initially was that she could see things at a distance. She could see things from across the room, even on the phone, when somebody called with a certain condition. And so that was interesting, right? Like, man, how does she do that? And as I studied with her, I learned how to do that, how to feel with my hands, and then at a distance, seeing people, in person and over the internet, and then even over the phone. And I noticed that I could feel what's going on in somebody's heart or their liver or their GI tract, and where the problems were and how to correct for it, how to shift it so that the person could heal naturally. And so I had that technique in my toolbox, but I knew I couldn't use that in my presentation for these high school students, because you can't really just work on people in a big 2,000 person auditorium and people coming and going, and then there's the whole thing about you don't want to be treating people without consent. So I was like, what do I do? So one of the things that happened after one of the things that Sharon used to tell us, she said, when she would show us, hey, here's some kind of problems you can find in the heart or in the liver or in the GI tract, or here's things you can see in the mental, emotional, spiritual world, stuff that's going on in somebody, and here's how to find it with your hands. And she said, if you didn't have somebody tell you that this was possible, that you could see things at a distance, that you could put your hands on and feel things, would you know? You might have these superpowers you don't know about. And so, maybe at some point we would learn that and realize that we had the ability to see that. But because she showed us that we could do it, we got that as our reality. And in 2009, I was really fortunate to start hearing about and interacting with my teacher, Kim Burnham, who told us about matrix energetics. And she said, just take it because it's mind-blowing fun. And she was in my clinic working every 3 months. She would work for 2 weeks at a time and stay with us. And it was amazing. We did great work before with the medical intuitive work, but when she showed up and started adding in the matrix energetics, we saw even more miracles. And I remember asking her, like, when am I going to get to do what you're doing? And she said, oh, Ralph, you're already doing it. You just don't know it yet. Kind of like Yoda, And but I couldn't quite get it till I took the class. When I took the class, one of the things that happened with Richard Bartlett, so fortunate to have met him, he showed us that we have these abilities. We have these abilities to play by a different set of rules, to do things in a different way, and to have real access to whatever this is, this magic way of thinking and being and doing stuff where stuff can actually change in the physical world for clients and for ourselves. So I got to see it and experience it, and I was lucky enough to have a clinic in San Diego with 5 therapists working for me with me, and we were all doing it. If just about everybody that worked for me, almost everybody took these classes, and so we were doing it all day long. And we love to test before and after. Really useful to tell if something's changing, right? So we got a lot of data that said, "Wow, this really works." And now, would we have known that we could do that or access that or play with that technology if Richard hadn't come along and told us, "Hey, look at what you can do"? Maybe, maybe not. But I was lucky enough to find that. So I was thinking about what to do with these high school students and everybody that was going to be coming to this science fair. I thought, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write an article about the physics of all this. And there's the physics of miracles. And that's actually the title of Richard Bartlett's book, The Physics of Miracles. Great book if you want to go grab that. And so I wrote an article of some of the physics, and I used some of the technology from one of our favorite physicists, Nassim Haramein, and his work with a thing called the Schwarzschild proton was quite amazing. And he did the math around that to show the infinite energy and potential in and information in each proton. And so I talked about some of these principles in physics of how that might explain why distance healing and energy works. And we know that it works. We've tested before and after, and this physics explains possibly why it does. So I wrote this down and I encoded it in an article, and I called it "What Does Physics Have to Do with Your Healing?" And what I did was I encoded it so that when anybody read it, they would have a massive change and a massive transformation right there, just sitting there right there. And so I encoded that and set it there. So there I was at this table and my booth with my pieces of paper there, my article, and these high school students were coming by. They had a little card that they had to get filled out, so they had to go to a certain number of these booths to fill it out. So they came to see me, and the adults didn't come much. It was kind of funny. They just kind of like milled about, but the kids would come, and I would say, okay, test your neck, test your shoulders, test your back, and you might do that for yourself now. And then read this article. So I had them read it, and then I would be talking to the next person, waiting for their turn to read the article, and then when they were done reading the article, I would say, okay, retest your neck and your back and your shoulders, and you're walking around, and notice what's different. And pardon me, and then they would be like, oh my God, what just happened? How is that possible? They were looser, they were lighter, they were happier, their walking felt better, fluffier, all sorts of words were coming out. And so then, of course, they were telling all their friends and saying, you got to go try this thing. And sure enough, people would test things and then read this article and then retest, and they were way different. So that's pretty cool, right? But would you know that you could do something like that if you hadn't heard some ideas around this and actually seen it work? So that is what this morning is all about for you. It's actually afternoon that I'm filming this one because I'm refilming it. And what you might want to do is notice what's different in your world. What are you feeling right now after watching this? And what you might want to do is notice how the rest of the day goes. And notice what's different. Do some people treat you differently than you'd expect? I had a client just this morning that had a wonderful success story of reconnecting with her family after 11 years. So wonderful stuff. You can notice what's different for you. And I'd love to hear what you think, what changed for you, what you notice. And if you want more of this type of stuff, these kind of videos and sessions and information, you can go subscribe on the YouTube channel, click like, click share. Let's get this information out to everybody that could use it, that would want it. And let me know in the comments what you notice that's different, what's going on with you. And you can find me on and subscribe to my my email. I can send you more information. Every Friday I do a free session and send it out as an email. So all right. So love to hear what you think. And this is Ralph Havens signing off. Until next time, tomorrow, let's get out there and live. Let's really live. Bye now.